It's 1 minute to 6, and we're just going to wait for a few minutes and make sure everybody can come on. Make sure you can see me and hear me. So if you can, do both, see me and hear me. Please comment and let us know that everything sounds good and looks good. And that way we know we're okay and we can get started. Please say hey, say hi. Want to see who's joining us tonight?
People are saying no sound.
Uh-oh, no sound. Not good. Not good. Of the microphone. There then. Is it on?
Hang on.
Okay, hanging. We're hanging. Everybody's hanging.
Yep, we're all good.
Okay, now can you hear me? Hello?
Good now.
Hello, everyone.
Now.
Hi.
So go ahead and repeat it.
Okay, so I can just say everything all over again. Not a problem. Well, welcome everyone. We are here at the Poderosa. I'm Karin from Sew and Save, and I'm in my adorable garden room, and we are ready to make a fabulous project tonight. Welcome to our Sizzling Summer Series. This is session number 2 out of 4. Last week we made some great patriotic banners, quick and easy to do. There's 2 of the styles have sold out. We still have a couple of the styles. So if you could still order those if you're interested. Maybe Jill can put a picture and a link below for those. But tonight we're making market bags, and these market bags are so cute and fun. So this is one of them, and this is another, just a couple. They both look the same, just different fabric. So they have pockets on the outside, fully lined, 2 pockets, and they're great to take to the market. They're great to take to the farmer's market. Some of the girls were going to make them as Christmas gifts out of Christmas fabric and just put their Christmas gifts in there and give them. I was thinking of doing one for Thanksgiving and using some fall fabrics and bring it with to also have a couple other ones I'm going to show you that I'm going to work on tonight. And one is going to be kind of a girls' weekend out kind of bag. And another one is kind of a salsa bag. So I'm going to show you those as we go along. So I'm going to show you everything you need to do to make one of these fabulous bags. And it is fun, fast, and easy. You can get it done. I can whip up one of these in maybe a half an hour. So we'll see how long it takes me to make one tonight. And you'll see. We had a class this afternoon and everybody left with at least one market bag done. So let me tell you how this works. So these market bags are made from 1 yard of fabric. So I know you all might just have like 1 yard of fabric sitting around that you could sew into a really cute market bag. I bet you do, if you dig a little deep. So we use 1 yard of fabric, and then we use the Quilt Smart printed interfacing. And let me show you what that looks like. Inside this package, so if you're part of the Sizzling Summer Series class, you've got 4 projects, and one of these projects is this bag. So in your kit, you'll get 1 yard of fabric and one of these packages of the Quilt Smart interfacing. This package makes 4 bags. Okay? So all you need is one of these packages. These have all step-by-step instructions inside, but you're not going to need that tonight because I'm going to tell you how to do it. So 1 yard of fabric and the interfacing. So in this little package is printed interfacing. This is what Quilt Smart is known for, and this is what they do.
Get a close-up on that.
Joe's going to get a close-up on this. I'm going to lay it down. Just hold it up. Can you see through it okay? On this printed interfacing are the templates or the interfacing, whatever you want to call it, to make 4 market bags. And I'm going to show you in a second how to cut these apart and what you're going to do with them. So you need 1 of these pattern pieces and 1 yard of fabric. So the first thing I'm going to do, and maybe Joe can kind of come in and look at it a little bit closer, is to cut right on these lines. And if you look right up in here, there's a little cut line. So I'm going to kind of rough cut here, and then I would cut straight down that dotted line. So here's 1 bag, here's a second bag. You would
do that again. I didn't see
Oh, okay, you didn't get it? Okay. So on here are 4 market bag little patterns. So what you're going to do is cut right where there's the scissors. So right here you can see there's the scissors on this little dotted line. So I kind of cut, you can cut right on the line. I kind of cut a little bit farther out and just cut straight down here. And you can use your rotary cutter and a ruler or a scissors, whatever works best for you. And then you're going to cut down right in between here, right on that dotted line. So then you'll have 2 here, and you'll do exactly the same thing on this other side. You'll cut straight down this line here and across over here. And then you'll end up with 2 patterns over here to use. Okie dokie. I've already done that. And I'm going to just fold this up and set this aside. And so this is what 1 pattern piece looks like. Oops, this has 2 on. Okay, forget that. Forget it. Okay. So the first thing you will do is take your 1 yard of fabric and you're going to fold it in half, right sides together. So you're going to refold your fabric so your right sides are together. So isn't this a fun fabric? It's going to be like a little girl's weekend out bag or a beach bag. Really fun. This is the little Kimberbell vintage boardwalk fabric. So I relined my salvages, made sure my salvages were kind of lined up, pressed everything, and repressed the fold into the fabric halfway. Now you're going to need a few supplies. So before we get too far into this, you're going to need rotary cutters, of course. You might, if you have one of these small rotary cutters, you might want to pull that out. Binder clips and pins. Your nice long point turner, you're going to really appreciate this. You might need a big scissors and a little scissors and some type of a hem gauge. Okay? So that's pretty much all the equipment, and your sewing machine. Threaded with your favorite thread on it. Okay, so once again, you've taken your 1 yard of fabric, you've folded it, refolded it so that your right sides are facing one another, and you've repressed the fold in. At this point in time, you're going to take your interfacing and you're going to lay that interfacing, and Joe might want to come up and get a nice closer look at this. You're going to lay that interfacing that's marked right along this folded edge. So this is my folded edge. This is the open edge down here. And you can see where it says place on fold. Remember when we were sewing garments and our pattern would say place on fold? That's what you're going to do. So you're just going to lay this all the way out on the fold. And I didn't turn my iron on, but that's okay. We don't really need it right now. And then you're going to press. And I start pressing in the center and just hold my iron and work my way over and iron that interfacing on. Now remember that the bumpy side of the interfacing is what you want to be up against your fabric. The smooth side of the interfacing will be facing you, and you'll be able to read everything. If it reads backwards, then you have your interfacing on upside down. So make sure that the bumpy side is against your fabric, because that's the side with the glue, and the smooth side is facing up. Then you're just going to come and you're going to iron this all down. Super easy. You can do this, right? You got it. Line up that line right along that fold. Press it on. Alrighty. We're going to keep that iron, get that iron hot. Then I'm going to have Joe come up close again, and then you're going to go over to your sewing machine and you're going to start to stitch. Now, unlike our patterns when we were sewing garments, the lines that are solid are the lines that you're going to sew on. The lines that are dotted are the lines that you're going to cut on. So let me say that again. The lines that are solid are the lines that you're going to sew on. The lines that are dotted are the lines that you will cut on. So you're going to sew along here, and you're going to sew both of these solid lines. Then you're going to come over here and sew on both of these solid lines. So come back over here, solid line you're going to stitch. Both of these solid lines you will stitch. Come over here, both of these solid lines, both of these solid lines, and this solid line here. Now you're going to start where the dot is, and everywhere there's a dot, make sure that you backstitch. So when you start stitching here, backstitch, and I took and I put my stitch length to 1.5. So I made it smaller because that's going to give you a tighter seam, and it's going to make it easier to sew these curves. The smaller that stitch is, the easier it is to sew that curve. When you come all the way back up here to the dot, you're going to backstitch. Now there's a couple places here where it says to leave this open to turn. So you're going to start here or end here, whichever way works best for you. Backstitch at the dot, come all the way around, backstitch up here. Okay, and you're going to do that with each one of these curves, just like it tells you. Alrighty? Easy so far. You can do this. Any questions? Does it all make sense?
No questions that I can see so far.
Excellent, because it's not hard. Okay, once you've done that, and that doesn't take too long, okay, because you're sewing right on the line. We're going to talk about this in a few minutes if I remember. Hopefully I'll remember. So once you've done that, now you're going to trim your bag up a little bit. So over here, you're going to take your nice big ruler, line it up with this line right here that's on the side, and you're going to trim off that extra fabric. So you're just going to line it up, and with the Big Easy and my big cutter, it makes it very simple. You can see I didn't even have to press hardly at all on this, and it just trims it right up. So that trims it off right on this side, and this can go over. You don't need that. Then we're going to flip it around, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. There's a dotted line that runs right along here, and I'm going to take it. See, there's a dotted line that runs right along here. I took when I stitched and I came all the way out to where that dotted line was. Okay, then I put my big easy ruler on here. Let me get it lined up nice. Okie dokie. And then I just take it and I cut off that excess. Okay, now I've trimmed both sides so they're nice and even, nice and flat. Now we're going to cut on that dotted line. Now you can do that one of two ways. You can use one of a small rotary cutter, which works really well. The bigger ones don't work that well, and I'm not sure how sharp my little rotary cutter is, but we're going to find out. I'm going to actually go backwards. So you could use your small itty bitty rotary cutter and cut right on that dotted line. So it just depends on how sure you are about your strength and your cutting. Because I am just taking my cutter and cutting right on that dotted line. Okay? Or if you don't feel good about that, which most of the ladies did not in class today, you can come around with your scissors and just cut this out right on the dotted line. So each one of these are going to get cut out. Alrighty, so you're going to have to watch me cut here for a minute or two. There's that. You're going to use that. There's hardly any waste on this. So I'm going to cut right along, right around my pocket here. So these are going to be used for pockets on the outside of your bag. And what's left will be the handles. So here's a handle, here's a handle. I'm coming around and I'm cutting out another pocket. So when you make this bag, not only are you making the outside, you're also making the lining all at the same time. So you're lining your bag and making the outside all at the same time. So I'm trimming right around that, and I'm going to trim this last piece off over here, right on the dotted line. Come along, and I know this scissors I think is pretty sharp. And see where these little lines are? I'm going to do those little clips. See these little clips where these little lines are? You know, that's going to help you make a nice curve when you press this, because you are going to have to end up pressing this. And what you do not want to do is cut through your stitching line. So all the way around on all of these, we're going to make a little cut. Little clip. I would throw one in there, even though they didn't put one there. I would put one right there. You can put as many or as few as you want in there. And we're going to come over here, do it over here, and you are just about halfway done with your bag already. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to come over here and do the same over here. Okay, I'm going to set this aside for a minute, and just like we did with our, and I'm going to take off across the top, there's a little bit of extra hanging in here. Yeah, you might. We're just going to trim off that extra that was along the top there, and the extra that's along the top here. Be careful not to cut your fold, otherwise you're not going to be in your happy place. Okay, and then just like we did last month or last week, we're going to clip before we turn. So I clipped right where that little dot was, and you've got your back stitching there. Then we're going to take this and we're going to turn it now before we turn it right side out, just like we did before. And then I kind of take this, I might lick my finger a little so that it sticks to my finger, and kind of move it so it kind of lines up with my seam here and is even. And I'm going to grab my oops, I'm going to come over here and flip it over a little bit. I'm going to grab my iron and iron that flat right there. See how nice and straight and flat that is? Now I'm going to do the same thing all over again with the other one. So I made my little clip right where my dot was, and I had back stitched, and I'm going to flip this over and then kind of straighten it out. If you wet your fingers a little bit, it rolls. See how it rolls once it'll stick to your fingers? So you get a little spit on your project. It's okay. Right there. Yeah. And then with your iron, you disinfect it anyways. There you go. Any germs are killed, and we can move on. Okay. So now we're going to turn this right side out. This is going to be, let me grab this. This is going to be your pocket on the front and the back of your bag. Now, it doesn't have to be the front and the back of your bag. If you don't want any pockets on the outside, you can put these on and they can go on the inside of your bag when you turn your bag. Oh, we got our neighbor dog barking. He's putting in his 2 cents. Can you hear him? Her. Nope, not at all. Okay, cool. We have a nice dog next door called Priya. Very pretty dog. Cats don't like him, but you know. All right, so I'm using my point turner and I'm turning this all right side out, running it along my stitching line, and here I go. So there's one. I'm going to do it again because I have to do my other pocket. All righty, we're going to turn this right side out. Flips very easy. This is already pre-ironed, so that's going to be nice and laid nice and straight. Now on my bag here, on this one, I put a little stitching line here just for decoration. You can do that or just leave it. You could also take and flip your pocket down and give it a little cuff on the top. That could be cute too. It's up to you. It's your bag. Get back here. Okay, now I'm going to straighten this back out again. This is where having this nice long point turner is really nice because it really gets down inside that pocket and straightens everything out. And now, kind of straighten that out. Here we go. Okie dokie. Now I'm ready to just give these a press. And I'm going to press out my curve and all the way up the side. Give it a nice press and it'll be very pretty. And then I'm going to show you how to and where to line this up on your bag. And you can see how pretty nice this is right by where we did our turn before we turned where we turned our little seam in before we turned our fabric right side out. So now I'm going to give this another little press here. And then we can put it on the bag. Oops, and I just mushed that one out. So we're going to fix that one just for a second here. Sometimes that can happen. All righty, hang on a second. We gotta, see this is sticking out just a little bit. I moved it out when I was pressing. See it's sticking out a little bit? So I know, I gotta fix it. It's gotta be white, it's gotta look good. There we go. All you have to do is tuck that back in and I'm gonna give it another little press. And then, all better. And then we're ready to put this on our bag. Okie dokie. Looks so cute. I love this little summer fabric. Alrighty. So now, I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit. The lines for putting your pockets on, I'm going to kind of come this way so that we can spread this out, are already on your interfacing. So Joe might need to come back up and get a little closer again. I'm going to grab my pins and I'm going to show you how this works. And I'm doing this a little bit different than what they tell you to do, but it's basically the same thing. So this line right here, can you see that with the 2 dots? Right here. And then over on this other side where the little U shape is, right here are 2 dots and a dotted line. That's your placement line for your pockets. You're going to kind of pick this up and you're going to put this towards into the middle. And you just kind of do it by feel and feel where your pocket is along that little dotted line. So I laid this in between the two bag pieces. And now as I can feel the top of my pocket going right along this line. It's sticking up a little bit here. I'm going to push it down a little bit. And the top of my pocket is running right along this line. Still up a little bit. It's going to be fussy. Nobody would probably ever notice that it wasn't perfectly straight, but I'm going to move it just a little bit. Okay, there we go. So now this is running right along that line where those 2 dots are. Okay? Got it? Joe's got it. You guys got it? Any questions on this? So fun and easy. Now I'm going to pin this in place. Oops, I go through all the left. There we go. We're going to put some pins in and to hold it in place. Then my next step will be top stitching this down. Okay, that's enough pins. It's going to hold it in place. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to repeat that with the other pocket, which is over there. Okay, grab this pocket, slide it in between the 2 layers of fabric, and kind of just slide it into place. And just kind of do it by feel right along that little line. It's a little bit low here. I'll lay this out flat. So I'm going right along this line between the 2 dots. And it's just a little bit short down here. I'm going to slide it up a touch. Straighten it back out again. And I can feel that it's running right along that line. Might be up a little bit here. You fuss with that for a half a second. There we go. So now it's running right along that line. Nice and flat. I peel back my fabric and I pin this in place. Then we will be going to the sewing machine. Yay! Put 4 pins in here. Move that stuff out of the way. And there we go. Now I'm going to top stitch this in place. Piece of cake. Easy peasy. I'm coming over. We're moving around the little room. Here we go. Okay. Again, I have my little 560 sewing machine that's just as cute as can be. And, oops, and I keep stepping on it. Okay, stop it. Okay, so I'm going to start, and I'm going to start stitching, and then I'm going to back stitch at the beginning and the end, and go all the way around this pocket. And it's going to wobble a little bit, not because it's a Cricut machine, but because my little table has a little leaf there. Kind of lift it and turn it a little as I go around. I'm used to the my machine, the foot goes up and down when I step on my foot pedal, so I forget that I have to use the little lever sometimes to lift my foot up. But we're just going to go right around and sew that pocket on. Such fun. This is such a fun project. I am almost done with this bag. Let me tell you, and I'm gonna try not to sew through that. And then when we get to the top here, I'm going to back stitch. Has a nice thread cutter. Lift up my presser foot, and off I go to the next pocket. Oops, I hit the wrong button. There we go. That's my back stitch. Get the pin out of the way, and around I go. Slow down when I get to that curve. There we go. One of the ladies double top stitched her pocket today. It was very cute. I'm just going to put on 1 line of stitching around this. Not make you watch all that stitching. There we go. We're going to get up to the end and back stitch. Now both of my pockets are on. Easy peasy. Okay, I'm going to walk in front of the camera and go over here.
Are you going to do this again?
I will be doing this again in like 2 minutes. So let me just show how this looks. So now I have both of my pockets on, all set and ready to go. Now there's another piece right here. Yeah, you can zoom in on that. This is how it looks. I have both of my pockets on. Now there was also this other little pocket that you could put on. Some of the ladies put it. So this is going to be the outside of my bag. This one will be the inside. Some people took it, turned it, and they put it on the inside. For like maybe their phone. It's a little narrow, I thought, for a phone, but money and keys and things, sunglasses maybe, could go in that little pocket. So you could put that pocket on if you like. All right, now the fun really begins, because now you're ready to sew it together, and it's going to be a purse in like, or a tote bag in like 2 minutes. We're going to take this side, this long edge, and line it up with this other long edge here. So it's going to look like this. I'm going to match up my little seams here. I make one little seam go down, the other little seam points up. So like this little seam will go down, this little seam will go up, and I kind of nest those together and put a pin in there. Alrighty, and you could use binder clips. I have binder clips here. That would be really easy to use. Oops, come on. Can't get a hold of it. There we go. So you're going to want to line this up. That lines up very nicely. This lines up very nicely. So I didn't even use pins or binder clips, but you are welcome to do so. All the ladies in class did it and did so, and that's just great. And you want to do about 1/4 of an inch. It doesn't really matter. Make sure that you push the wrong button.
One of the folks online was asking if this is available online. I think the fabric.
This fabric?
Yes.
Yes. And maybe if Jill is on, she can find this. This is Kimberbell Vintage Boardwalk. And we do have it in the store, and I know we have it should be online under the Kimberbell Fabrics. Vintage Boardwalk. Isn't it cute? Really cute. So now I'm just sewing up this side all the way along. Pull my pin out when I get to this side and come down. I'm going to kind of line this up here. All of this is going to line up. The little, there we go. All right, we're going to continue to sew down. This is actually a great beginner project. So if you have granddaughters or daughters who are learning to sew, this gives them some experience on how to learn how to sew a curve. And they are just like following the line. So that's very helpful. And they'll learn how to do top stitching and sew a curve and things like that. So it's a good project for a beginner. And the girls love to sew handbags and tote bags and things. All right, so now I have this done. Now it's time to finish up my bag, and I'm going to be ready to turn it. So on the side where the pockets are, so if you're going to have your pockets on the outside, which I am, I'm going to take, and I'm actually going to kind of come over to, no, I'm going to do it right here. I'll do it right here. I'm going to take, and on this edge, I'm going to measure in this edge 1.5 inches. And put a pin. And then on this edge, I'm going to put a pin after I folded it 1.5 inches. This is going to make these cute little side gusset things. It's kind of like a grocery bag.
Gotcha.
So you can do this, or at this point, or you can box your corners, but this is what they suggest to do. And it's kind of a fun little corner on your little market bag. So 1.5 inches here and here, and on this side, the same. So I only had to sew up one side of my bag because we folded this whole thing in half, and this side is already sewed up. So you only have to sew up one side of your bag. And then you're going to put a pin here. And 1.5 inches in on this side as well. Alrighty. Now, on the side that does not have a pocket, well, let's flip to this side.
Somebody asked, did you leave the stitch length at 1.5?
When you do the sides, and especially when I did my top stitching, I would change back to the 2.5 to do my top stitching and the sides. But to do those curves, it's nice to do it at 1.5 because it just makes a nicer curve. It's easier to sew around those little curves. So I switch. After I finish sewing the interfacing on, then I switch to 2.5.
Yeah, and somebody was just asking, do we have that at the shop, the pattern?
The pattern? Yes. So you can purchase this little, it has the pattern and interfacing to make the four market bags. And each bag takes about 1 yard of fabric. So you can see I took a little bit off when I cut it, but about 1 yard of fabric. So that should be in the link. There should be a link for this product. And hopefully if Jill's on, she'll put a link for. She's on. She's working on it.
You bet.
Okay, great. So we'll have a link for this to make the market bags and a link for the really cute vintage boardwalk fabric. Alrighty, so back to my little bag. I am almost done. So this is the side that has the pocket on. This is going to be the outside of my bag. I am now going to stitch all the way across the bottom of my bag, all the way over the top of both of these. Now you can see that I have a little bit of my selvage here. So I'm going to lay the side of my presser foot. It's hard to see on this particular fabric, but you can see my selvage is here. I'll lay my presser foot along the side of the selvage, the edge of the selvage, and stitch like up into here. And then that gives you a nice big seam, hem on the bottom or seam on the bottom, which gives it a little bit more strength. So on the side with the pocket, you will sew all the way across. Okay. On the side without the pocket, which is in the inside of your bag, you're going to start and you're going to sew and then you're going to stop. Leave about 3 or 4 inches for turning. Start again and sew to the end. And I'll show you how that works. And then we're going to be ready to turn and make it into a bag. We're almost done. So I'm lining up the side of my presser foot kind of along the edge of the selvage, and I'm going to backstitch here. And this is the side without a pocket, so I am not going to go all the way across. Alrighty, I'm going to kind of go. I'm going to go up to here and backstitch. Cut. And then I'm going to move it over. Get up on there. There we go. I'm going to give it about 3-4 inches so that I can turn and do that again. Backstitch. I'm kind of lining my presser foot up with the selvage edge and go all the way across and backstitch. All right. Now this next side is the side with the pocket, and that's going to be the outside of my bag. So now I'm going to stitch all the way across that. Ta-da! It's this easy. It is so much fun to make these bags. And once you get started, you can make a whole bunch of these all at once. All right. Done. Okay. Now the fun begins, and you're going to turn this right side out. So I'm going to reach it. Oh, I didn't leave much of a hole. I have to leave more of a hole. Well, we'll try. See how lucky I am. I wasn't watching. Uh-oh. Whoa. You know, I didn't leave much of a whole space, but we'll see if it'll go through. I think it will. All right. So as you're pulling through, just keep pulling. It'll be easier if you leave a little bit bigger hole, but this is fine. It's coming through. Just going to take a second. This is always fun to watch. So, there we go.
Pull on it.
Pull. So the next project that we're going to make, and I should have brought it with to show, is the table runner, is the Whimsy Daisy table runner, and maybe Jill can put a picture of that down below, and the date of that, which is not next week, but the week, not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after, because we're not going to do something the week of 4th of July, because, you know, people are traveling, people have family coming in, I hope you're all traveling and having fun next week. Okay, so this is the bag. And when you pull it and you pull it straight out and you look at it and you go, oh my God, this looks wrong. I did something wrong. If you say that, you did everything right. Because if it looks wrong, it's actually right. And now, so once you pull it out, this is going to be the outside of your bag, which has the pockets. This is going to be the lining. But before you can make it into a bag, you have to push out those little arms. The little legs, the little arms, the little handles. And I have to find the little itty bitty hole I put in here. Here it is. Okay, so this is going to take a minute, but we're going to push through these little handles. And this is when you're really going to appreciate that you have this point turner with the really long arm on it. So I am pushing out those little handles that you sewed. And since they were sewed on the fold, you didn't have to stitch across the top of them, so you don't have that big seam going across the top of your little arm there. So you're going to have 4 of these. And hopefully you can push them out pretty quick. Here it comes. There's one. So there's one. And then you really look at it and go, oh my gosh. And then you kind of have to find the next one. I should not have pulled this out of my hold here. There it is. One. Get a drink of water.
How many of these are there?
There's 4.
No.
Joe's like, oh my God. I know. I should have had one all made up and then I could go, okay, and after you push out 4, but as soon as I do this, so once I get all of this pushed out, then it's gonna look like a bag and you go, oh, okay, that's cool, I get it. And it is really cool. Okay, there's that one. 2 more here somewhere. There's 2, halfway. We're halfway, here we go.
Hurry.
So don't forget that next month, second Monday of the month, we have our patchwork party at 6 o'clock. So don't want to miss that. And next month, and I'm not sure the date of that either because I did bring any of my dates with me. Of course, we are going to have a sample spree. And that is always fun. So it's either the 3rd Monday or 4th Monday. I can't remember. Jill, put that in there. Tell people what the date is.
Yeah, Jill.
Yeah, Jill. Poor Jill. Number 3, pushed out. Okay, one more. Yes, so we're going to have Sample Spree live like we did last year towards Christmas time. So we have got some fabulous samples. So if you have some weddings to go to, babies getting born. Seems like I'm hearing a lot about babies coming. People must have been busy during the COVID quarantine.
What are you doing?
Oh, they're making babies. Getting ready to make babies. Okay, so all 4 are out. There's 2. And like I said, this bit looks wrong, which this looks all wrong. It's right. So here's 2 more. So now what you're going to do is take your lining, and I'm not going to do this right now, but you can either hand stitch your little hole closed or just take your machine and stitch along this and close up the hole. Then you're going to tuck it into the bag. And Viola is the bag. There it is. You need to do some pressing, of course, but there's your little market bag.
You gotta throw those tops.
So yes, you do. So you could do a couple things because we were talking about this morning. You could take and put a button or Velcro or a snap, and this works really nice on a walker, like a little bag for a walker. Some of the girls were just going to do the stitching and just sew on a decorative button, not really put a buttonhole there. So you're going to come along and take your straps and you're going to overlap them and then stitch a square. Just like that to hold those together.
Gotcha.
That's all you have to do. And then it will look like this. First, I took it, once I pressed it, I did come around and do a little top stitching. You could do a decorative stitch. You could just not top stitch it. That's up to you. But I top stitched it around here and around there. Sewed my 2 little handles together. And there's your market bag. Quick as can be. And it took me, 45 minutes to do it. And, probably about an hour. And you've got a market bag. Really, really super cute. If you have any questions, you need anything, you know where to find us. Email us, call us, stop in, and we're happy to answer any questions and help you make your market bags because they're really fun. Remember, you get 4 to a pack, and they should be on our website along with this super cute, really, really cute vintage boardwalk fabric. What a cute beach bag. So I hope you all have a fabulous 4th if I don't see you before then. And I hope to see you soon. And thanks for joining us tonight. Bye.